Hello everyone and welcome. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Jack Ma, Executive Chairman of the Alibaba Group. Jack founded Alibaba in his apartment in China in 1999 with a group of 18 co-founders. He was one of the first people in China to really understand the potential of the internet and has utilized it to help small businesses succeed in a global marketplace. Today, the Alibaba Group is the largest retail and mobile commerce company in the world, with more than 500 million consumers shopping on its marketplaces and tens of millions of businesses selling their products. The company has directly and indirectly employed created more than 30 million jobs. And Jack says the company is just getting started. He has ambitions of creating 100 million jobs and reaching 2 billion people. Jack also has a long history with the World Economic Forum. He first came to Davos in 2001 as a young global leader. He sits on the board of the World Economic Forum, and he recently joined the board of Global Shapers. We are so lucky to have Jack with us here today. Thank you so much for making time for the young communities within Davos. And can I please ask everyone to join me in giving Jack a very warm welcome.
Thank you.
We have global shapers, young global leaders, and technology pioneers in the room who are all really looking forward to asking some questions. So I'll just kick off with a few first.
Please.
So you ended your interview last year by saying we really need to pay attention to people who are 30 years old, to the next 30 years, and to companies that have less than 30 employees. I turned 30 last year, so it was particularly welcome to hear this. And I think for many people in the room, they meet one or two of those categories. So in light of that, what are you most looking forward to and most scared of in the next 30 years?
Yeah, we people are very lucky because we are in the area that the world is in a very big transformation because of the technology. I think we read a lot on the books that 200 years ago when the first industry have a lot of great people, and then 100 years ago, electricity revolution came, a lot of success people. So now the technology comes. This new technology will also create a lot of successful people, interesting careers. But honestly, every technological revolution comes is going to create a lot of social problems. And my view is the first technology revolution caused the First World War. Second technology revolution caused the Second World War. Now we're in the third. So what is going to happen? People worry about artificial intelligence. People worry about robots. People worry about a computer and data and privacy and securities. People start to worry. But whether you worry, it will come. You don't worry, it comes. So the thing is how you change yourself. So I think next 30 years, the world is going to be huge change. If there's a third world war, I think the world war should be a war against the disease, a war against environment pollution, right? A war against poverty together. We should not a war against ourselves. But if we do not see clearly that using the new technology to solve this problem, if we do not unite, align together, human beings are going to fight each other. Because every technology revolution will make the world unbalanced. When something unbalanced coming, somebody used to be number one, suddenly become number two, and somebody was number three, and then become number one. It's all well comfortable. So we people, if you're 30 years old, my view is that when you are 20 to 30 years old, you should follow a good boss, join a good company to learn how to do things properly. When you're 30 to 40 years old, if you want to do something yourself, just do it. You still can't afford to lose, to fail. But when you're 40 to 50 years old, my suggestion is that you should do things that you are good at, right? And not do things that, oh, that's very interesting, I want to try something new. It's a bit dangerous more. When you're 50 to 60 years old, spending time training and developing young people, the next generation. When you're over 60 years old, better stay with your grandchildren. But this is normally general like that. Not everybody were like, but most of the people were like that. So 30 years old, we people next to 30 years are the luckiest period. We have a lot of challenges, a lot of things are happening, and with our knowledge, with our physical power, it's time you need to change. You have to think, if you want to be successful tomorrow, it's impossible. If you want to be successful a year later, it's impossible. But if you want to win 10 years later, you have a chance. That is what I think.
Wonderful. And moving on to a topic which is kind of impossible to ignore after 2017. So a third of all the people in leadership positions in Alibaba are women. But the picture elsewhere is a bit more bleak. And a friend of mine recently said something that has really stayed with me. Women are tired of empowerment programs, and we want power. In 2016, venture capitalists invested $58.2 billion in male-founded companies, while women received just $1.46 billion. And as 2017 showed, it was a year of sexual harassment scandals, the gender pay gap still exists, and unfortunately, the list does go on. So how do you think we can move beyond tokenistic gestures towards genuine gender equality?
Yeah, that is very interesting. A few years, like 4 years ago, there is a journalist came to our company, and when he leaves, he asked me a question, why there are so many women in your company? And I never realized we have so many women in our company. I said, anything wrong? Today, we have a 49%, close 49% of the employees of our company are women. That's a lot for a high-tech company. It's not on purpose we hire women. We think they are great in helping us to grow. Alibaba is an e-commerce company. E-commerce is a service industry. To serve people better, you should have a service heart. We find that women doing much better jobs than men. And the second is that last century, people compete because of muscle. No, not this century is not muscle, it's the wisdom. And next is, I believe, if a person wants to be successful, you should have a high EQ. But if you don't want to lose quickly, you should have a high IQ. But if you want to be respected, you should have high LQ, the Q of love. So those three Qs put together, a lot of men, they have a high IQ but low EQ, and a very tiny LQ. Women, balance-wise, they're the best. If you want your company to be successful, if you want your company to operate with wisdom, with care, women is the best. In my company, we notice that women, they care others much more than men. Even on our site, today on shopping site, e-commerce, we find women buy a lot of things. But they buy for their husband, their parents, their kids. Men only buy for themselves mostly. Because you care, that makes you the difference. So we have 49% of the colleagues in the company are women, and close 37% of the senior management are women. We never feel anything wrong, and women, they sacrifice more. When they love it, they believe it, they continue to do it. So I think one of the secret sauce for Alibaba to be successful was successful in the past 18 years because we have so many women colleagues. And the other thing is that we feel so proud. And you know, most of the time you see I go out, I never realized that when we count always 50% of women with my delegation, my team. Because we never think they're women, we think they're great colleagues. So if you try to say, now we got too many men, so we have to put some women inside, that's a disaster for both sides.
So what would your advice be to companies that operate a little bit more on that quota-based system but seem to be not making progress or not having such kind of representation?
When you have a quota-based, you must have a lot of women. You will never reach that. I think if a company full of men, trust me, this company cannot be sustainable, cannot keep on growing. Because just like a steel, if you don't put wood inside, the steel is too tough, it's easy to break. So when you have a woman and a man in the same company, when something happens, the women are for example, one of the value for our company is that the #1 value is customer #1, employee #2, shareholder #3. This is everywhere I go. Wall Street did not like my point, but this is what I said. If you like us, invest in us. If you don't like us, please sell our stocks. Don't buy us. We believe customer #1, employee #2, shareholder #3. But when we start to compete, men suddenly get very angry, and they start. And women always come and say, no competition. Let's think about customer #1. Most of the women, they believe in the first day dream or first day love. Most of the men, easy to forget. I'm sorry, it's not I say bad about men. This is statistic. This is statistic. This is why our company works the balance. And it's naturally happening. It's not like so a lot of people have a tendency, man is better in doing things. But we think that even if man is better, we still have to hire the woman inside. And then the women have enough women will hire people more. So this is how we did it. So I don't know how many high-tech companies in the world like us, 49% colleagues are women. We feel proud for that.
As you should be, and I think it's a very strong message to send out to, like I say, other companies that have a range of reasons for why that's not the case, because clearly you've been able to build the most successful one with that being so. So you just came off stage after giving a talk about digital e-commerce and what needs to happen for small businesses and entrepreneurs to benefit from globalization. At a time when globalization once again is being questioned, is it really delivering for the most vulnerable? Is it delivering for people in the global south, etc.? So what is your message to people in this room kind of about globalization, really?
I think globalization cannot be stopped. Nobody can stop globalization. Nobody can stop trade. And I believe if trade stops, war starts. Trade is the way to to dissolve the war, not to cause the wars. I think globalization did a fantastic job in the past 30 years. Enriched a lot of countries, but of course, caused a lot of problems, right? Young people did not have opportunities. Small business have not opportunities. Developing countries were neglected. But it's only 30 years. It's a baby. It's a growth. You have to improve it. If you do not improve it, then you kill it. It's easy. Most of the time, to kill something is much easy. So my beliefs, it's our generation's job. Today, we have a better technology. We have a better knowledge about globalization. And it's our generation's responsibility or opportunity to improve it. Tell me, how can you stop globalization? Now, artificial intelligence come. Robots come. My grandfather worked 16 hours a day, and he said he was very busy. We work 8 hours a day. We said we are very busy. Our children may only work 3 hours or 4 hours a day for 3 days a week. I bet they will say, oh, we're very busy. Then when you work only 3 hours a day and 4 days a week, what are you going to do? You're going to travel around, right? You cannot stay in the home for a week. You will travel. 30 years ago, normal life, you visit 20 to 30 cities whole your life. 30 years later, in your life, you will visit 300 cities in your life because of mobile. How can you stop it? It's impossible. So thinking about that, the only thing is to improve it, to make it simple. Global trade should be simple, should be modernized, should be giving inclusive. Everybody have the opportunity. So my strong message is that, well, I feel sorry for WTO. They did a great job, but in the past 20 years, when you put the 200 government ministers in one room, how can they agree on something? Right? Because I don't like your country. No matter how good suggestion you have, I say no. But business people, even if we put 200 business people in one room, we will surely agree on something. And this is what I believe. The next generation of globalization should be inclusive, should create opportunities for young people to get involved. The first globalization in the human history was controlled by few kings and emperors. Last 30 years, globalization was controlled by 60,000 big companies. If you're not among the big companies, if you're not in the big, powerful countries, you don't have a chance. The next 30 years, I bet we will have 6 million or 16 million or 60 million companies get involved in globalization. And I'm sure we will make it happen. Together with a lot of people, maybe with you. With a mobile phone, if people still using mobile phone 30 years later. With a mobile phone, you can global buy. You want to buy something from Kenya, you just click. You want to buy something from Norway, you click. Global buy, global sell. If you're a small thing, without internet, you can only sell in your village or small town. Today, you can sell across the world. And global pay, global delivery, and global travel, the only thing you have to bring is a mobile phone, no, not even a passport. This is going to happen in 10 years. And this is the message. Let's catch this opportunity. If you complain, the other people catch it. If you catch the opportunity, embrace it now, you will be the next Alibaba. People like me, I was born in a very poor family. I never got a great education. I failed all the examinations. For what reason, I don't know. But later, I realized I don't have money. I don't have technology. I don't have a lot of good backgrounds. We have a rich uncle or something, no. The only thing I competed with my people, the young people, is let's compete for 10 years later. This is what I believe 10 years later will be happening. So everything I do for that goal, I know 10 years later, this thing is going to happen. So prepare for that. Because I know if I compete with him for next month, no chance. So this is how my message is. It's a challenge, but it's an opportunity. And it's the opportunity for people like us. This world, the most difficult thing is to convincing a successful people. When you tell him, this is a great opportunity, he said, no, forget it, right? I've been doing this for 30 years. But for people like us, we're looking for opportunities in order to survive. So we will do anything to be creative. So this is the message. 30 years, it's an opportunity for us. It's a challenge for those people who are 60 years old. If they're 60 years old, not discrimination, but it is tough for them.
And maybe says something about how we need to look at government as well in terms of more young people entering and doing policy making. So if there are these 6 or 16 or 60 million businesses and we're all kind of hyper-connected, on a more fundamental level, do you think consumption is making us happy?
Consumption? What do you mean consumption by making us happy?
But through consuming, are we becoming happier through being more connected? Is that genuinely driving
of course,
connection?
consumption will make, without consumption, definitely we're not happy, right? But if the consumption may not be, the thing is that for me, people like me, people say, Jack, you are very rich, but I don't have time to spend money. And I know this money does not belong to me. When I have 1 million, 2 million, it's my money. But when you have 20 million, problem comes, you think the US dollar is going to devalue or English pound and the stock market is going to problem. When you're over $1 billion, that is the responsibility because the society trusts you can manage the money better. If you think that is your money, you'll get into trouble. This is what I always believe. That's the. How can a person have a, 20 or $2 billion? No matter how hard you work, you should not get $2 billion or $20 billion. The money people put on you is the trust and credit you have. So you should spend money better than government. You should spend money better than the other people. Spend money on the right places. So consumptions, yes. And like a service industry, let me tell you one thing. The AI robots is going to kill a lot of jobs. Because in the future, machine. But we have to create modern service industry. Service industry is going to have. Service is got a lot about consumptions. So doing the consumptions, service industry has huge hope. But you have to do uniquely.
I think from that slightly philosophical point, we can turn to the floor for questions. So if you, if you could please introduce yourself, say where you're from, please keep your questions succinct so we can take as many as possible and relevant for the whole group. Great, so would you like to go first?
Hi, my name is Parv. I'm a global shaper from Chicago. And you just talked about philanthropy, and I'm curious if you could talk about how you see your role as changing in the giving space, particularly given the fractured world we live in.
Yeah, I think philanthropy, it's not about helping others. It's about helping yourself. I had a huge debate with my colleagues. Several years ago, there was a big earthquake in China. And there was a big earthquake in Japan. So we donated I forgot the exact, like $20,000 to Japan, $10, $15 to China. And people say, why we donate that little? Because we have a lot of money. And my point is, no matter how much money you donate, 2 million, 20 million, that money compared to that is tiny. You cannot change a lot of things there. The thing you donate because you change yourself. When you change, the world is changed. You have to change yourself, right? And the next thing is that philanthropy is about action. It's about involvement. It's not about giving money. It's about to wake up people's consciousness. So I think, to me, I grow up, and my globalization is grow up in this place. Year 2001, when I was nominated as a young global leader, I had no idea what is Davos, where is it, and what is about a young global leader. But I came here, I learned, I listened about these corporate global citizenship and globalization and all things. I grow up. I understand. This is, to me, it's like a philanthropy. And this has changed to me. As I told Schwab, that every time I come to Davos, I want to spend time with young people. Because I benefit from young global leader, early days. When I listen to Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and George Soros, these guys, at that time we don't have that many people. Very poor facilities. Well, very cold. I work like 30 minutes driving in a bus coming here and watching. But now I think still have. But this is good. This is the tuition we pay for a grown up. And now, to me, I think spending time with you benefit me, and also I want to tell you my true experience. It's a philanthropy. It does not necessarily mean money. So by charity, you cannot change the world. But if you have a philanthropy heart, you can do a lot of things. So I find this one, unfortunately, a lot of people have a business heart here, making money, but do things like a philanthropy. What we should do is should be a philanthropy heart, but have a business skill. I hate a lot of people do the opposite. They want to make money, but they talk like a philanthropy. And they do like a philanthropy, waste a lot of money. So this is what I mean. And it's, if you want your team to continue to work with you all your life, you have to plant the seed of care the world, care others. The first day they join. I don't like a lot of companies make a lot of money because making pollutions and counterfeit products. By end of the year, donate some money. This is no good. Business, the philanthropy idea should be buried into the business model. That's, yeah.
Philanthropy of heart, I think, a message that young people can take forward. Please.
Hi, my name is Iman. I'm a global shaper from the Jeddah hub in Saudi Arabia. My question is, as a young boy, did you envision that your life would be like this? Did you have intuition about this? And if so, do you think the belief helped in achieving such great success?
As a young boy, I never thought, as a young boy, even today, I never thought I would be here. Honestly, I never thought. But as a young boy, when I look back, every problems I met when I was a kid benefited me. I failed so many times. People probably know that I'm applying jobs for so many jobs, over 30 jobs, all rejected, not even got a chance. 24 of us were interviewed for a KFC job. 23 accepted. I was the only guy rejected. 6 people went for looking for a police job. 5 accepted. I was the only one. My cousin and I applied job as a server in a 4-star hotel in my city. We waited a long queue for 2 hours. He was accepted. I was rejected. So my mother looked at me, but I know this is a training course for me. Before my 30 years old, I'm a failure. People lose, but I never give up. I think there is an opportunity there. And then I was a teacher later. I graduated from university. I was a teacher in the university for 6 years. Number 5 year, I was elected the best teacher of my university, elected by students. So I said, everything I taught my students are the things I learned from books. What if I go out, spend 10 years, experience all the things, whether fail or succeed, I go back to teach again. That was my original thinking doing Alibaba. So I never thought I could be rich. I never thought I would be successful. I never thought we could survive for 18 years. And then we made it. The only thing that today we should do is share the experience and know-how, especially share the mistakes, suffers with others. My thinking is that, you guys remember, if you want to be successful, learn from the other people's mistakes. Don't learn from the successful stories. Successful stories they make, don't listen to that. There are a lot of reasons behind it. Just like, I remember the first time Harvard Business School came to us, say, Jack, we want to write a case study for you. Yes, years 2001 or 2000. They came, they spent 1 week, and they write a report, and I read, I said, this is not me. And they said, this is you. I said, no, this is not us. He said, this is you. So they make up his sign, and the case study go up, and they start to teach in a lot of universities. The next 5 years, they invited me to go to the case study, and they always find a competitor of my company. And after every case study, Alibaba will die, that company will succeed. All the students agree. And actually, every 5 years, all the competitors die, we still survive. So how can you study this kind of a successful story? Learn from the mistakes, the other people. No matter how smart you are, you will encounter these mistakes.